Now at 8, new information tonight on a San Bernardino County deputy killed in a violent pursuit crash. Mike?
Juan, here at the desk, we're looking into a deadly police shooting. Tonight, the LAPD revealing what the man had and why the state is taking over, Juan.
Plus, divine intervention that put a pastor on the path of a 92-year-old walking among the flames of the Eaton fire. Evelyn?
And some light showers in the forecast. Will they continue? Plus snow and maybe one of the warmest weekends we've seen all year. We'll have the details coming up in your next weather forecast.
This is KCAL News, Los Angeles.
Welcome to KCAL News at 8. I'm Juan Fernandez. We begin with an update tonight on a horrific crash that took the life of a San Bernardino County deputy. That deputy has now been identified. KCAL News assignment editor Mike Rogers has been following this story very closely. Mike, the sheriff held a news conference not long ago.
Yeah, that's right, Juan, and that's where we learned the name of this deputy, Deputy Hector Cuevas Jr. He was assigned to the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office, working in Victorville for the last 3 years. I want to show you some video of what happened today when this crash all came down. You see Deputy Cuevas' car split in half after he collided with a civilian during a police chase. San Bernardino Sheriff Shannon Dyke saying today Deputy Cuevas was the second unit involved in chasing a stolen vehicle. Deputy Cuevas was coming through an intersection, a civilian making a turn, a civilian not related to the pursuit, when he collided with her car, sent his car into a traffic signal, splitting it in two. Deputy Cuevas died there at the scene. I'll show you video from a procession that was happened, and this is Deputy Cuevas. He has been identified to us by San Bernardino Sheriff Shannon Dyke, again saying that he had served the department for 6 years, 3 of them with the Victorville station. There you can see a procession that led his body from the scene down to the coroner's office in the city of San Bernardino. Tonight, the sheriff talking about the man who was involved in the chase.
This suspect had previously been arrested for evading police as well in the city of Rialto, and also caused a law enforcement cruiser to collide into a citizen previously.
Juan, tonight the sheriff says they have charged that man or have arrested and booked that man on several felony cases, including vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated and felony evading causing death. We'll be sure to follow up on his case. We're going to have more coming up on our next hour at 9 o'clock. Juan.
A rough day for that department for sure. Mike, thanks so much. A Mission Viejo man faces felony animal cruelty charges tonight. Investigators say 58-year-old Joseph Parker threw his roommate's injured cat into a dumpster, and it was all caught on camera. The cat is now recovering but suffered a broken jaw, a concussion, and severe eye trauma. Parker's roommate identified him and the cat in the security video. He has pleaded not guilty and is out on bail tonight. New statistics tonight as well reveal a decrease in crime in the city of Angels. The numbers from the mayor and the LAPD chief show a 14% drop in homicides last year compared to 2023 and a 19% drop in shooting victims. Robberies were flat.
Now, we certainly understand that if you have been a victim of crime or know someone who has been a victim of crime, these statistics do not necessarily represent your experience. Any crime is unacceptable to us, and we know that everyone standing here today knows that we must continue to approach this issue with urgency and precision.
LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell says his department is also seeing an increased interest in recruitment. An Altadena restaurant back open for business tonight for the first time since the Eaton fires. Customers being welcomed with open arms at El Patron, the restaurant just off Altadena Drive, celebrating their grand reopening more than 2 months after flames destroyed buildings only a few feet away. The owner tells us she still hasn't seen any insurance money and is relying on community support to keep the lights on.
That's right. Maggie's going to stay here for you guys. And I know that it's going to take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, but it's okay.
I mean, this is like one of our regular places. It's like coming to see a good friend.
The neighborhood hub now plans to feed cleaning and construction crews until residents can return to rebuild. All right, to next weather now, with rain moving out of the area but leaving some winds behind and a chill as well, Evelyn.
Absolutely, a major chill. And speaking of wind and chill, Juan, wind-protected areas, and this is usually the case, will actually experience the coldest temperatures tonight, and the windiest areas will actually be a little warmer because that wind's going to mix the air, and that's going to keep it from getting so cold. So, still a few light showers, snow flurries in the forecast as well, but that light rain came and went for so many of us already. Winds through tomorrow morning, and then dry and warm. In fact, it will be, and it could be, the warmest week/weekend that we've had all year. That's right, all year, which again started off a couple months ago. Feels like it's been a lot longer than that. We probably could all agree there. But I will tell you, in the last few months, nothing quite this warm. Could see 80s by the weekend. So we're going to break down those numbers coming up for you in just a little bit. I do want to get a look at your next weather radar, and we are tracking just a few showers and just a few snow showers in the mix as well. We'll run you through your futurecast, your hour-by-hour forecast, and show you exactly what to expect in that department in just a little bit. We'll have that full next weather forecast. But for now, Juan, I'll send it right back to you.
Sounds good, Evelyn. Thank you. Now to a major development tonight in a long-running environmental battle in Watts. As KCAL News reporter Jeff Nguyen explains, a judge handed down a ruling against a controversial metal recycling facility right next to Jordan High School.
Members of this community consider this a victory. That's because when you walk up to this metal salvage and recycling facility, you will find this note. It reads, "Closed until further notice." The gates are locked at Atlas Metals in Watts after a Superior Court judge ordered it to stop accepting and processing new material. The move comes as a great relief to the Watts Labor Action Committee.
I am obviously grateful for his speedy determination. This thing has been getting delayed for years.
The facility sits right up against the athletics field at Jordan High School, and the Jordan Downs housing development is nearby. For about 70 years, members of the community alleged in court Atlas Metals contaminated the school property at Jordan High School with lead and other toxic chemicals, and even recklessly allowed shrapnel to be launched onto the campus.
We've lost some great people here to cancer and other forms, of life-threatening maladies.
In 2023, then District Attorney George Gascon announced the initial criminal filing against Atlas Metals. His successor, Nathan Hochman, said in a statement that read in part, "Under my watch, environmental crimes will be punished to the full extent of the law, and those who threaten public safety, especially those who harm children, will be held accountable." The judge setting bail for one of the two owners of Atlas Metals at $1 million. In a statement from one of the attorneys representing Atlas, it says Atlas will continue its efforts to be a good neighbor and member of the community. We disagree with the district attorney's characterization of Atlas, but we welcome direction from the court and will comply with it. Reporting in Watts, Jeff Nguyen, KCAL News.
A new look tonight at CHP in pursuit of dozens of bikers performing dangerous stunts on the 5 freeway in Oceanside. The sideshow went on for more than 20 miles, slowing down traffic until officers directed the bikes off the freeway. They issued dozens of citations here. The motorcycles were impounded. And happening now and for the next 3 weeks, parts of Wilshire Boulevard underneath Beverly Hills closed until early April to make way for new stops on the upcoming D-line. The closures are on Wilshire Boulevard between Crescent Drive and east of El Camino Drive. Construction crews will be working to expand the D-line subway from Koreatown to Westwood. The city of Beverly Hills is asking drivers to follow recommended street detours and be prepared for slow traffic in that area. One of these 7,000 residents in a tiny California town is mega rich tonight. Plus, the countdown is on tonight for the return of 2 astronauts stuck on the International Space Station since last summer. Also, how a twist of fate saved a 92-year-old Altadena woman found walking in the Eaton fire. And Mike back on the desk with the change in investigators looking into a deadly police shooting in South LA. Now at 8, an extended stay on the International Space Station is coming to an end for 2 American astronauts. Tonight, KCAL News reporter Mark Strassman lays out the timeline for the duo's touchdown on Earth.
Ignition and liftoff.
Finally, the beginning of the end.
launching an overdue homecoming for Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams. After liftoff Friday night, their replacement crew, 4 fresh astronauts led by Commander Ann McClain, arrived at the space station early Sunday morning. Among the welcoming party, Wilmore and Williams.
It was a wonderful day. Great to see our friends arrive. So thank you so much.
After a short handover, Wilmore and Williams, along with NASA astronaut Nick Hague and Russian cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov, will board a different SpaceX capsule and return to Earth on Tuesday.
People are always ready to get back home.
Ken Bowersox, a former astronaut himself, now leads space operations for NASA.
It's always a little bittersweet, right? You miss your family, but you love being on space station.
How do you think they've handled it, all the attention?
Butch and Sonny have been great. I can't say enough positive things about them and how proud I am of them.
Wilmore and Williams' space saga is unlike any in recent memory. Back in June, their ride to the ISS developed propulsion problems. Their original 8-day mission stretched into more than 9 months.
I'm looking forward to sitting across from them and hearing about their perception of how things went and all about their time on orbit.
And what a story they'll have to tell. Mark Strassman, Atlanta.
All right, to next weather now with some snow flurries still sticking around. And Evelyn, you teased a warm weekend, which I'm very excited about.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it too. And again, of course, that's just us. Maybe not everybody's excited,
right.
but 80s. And you know what, Juan? It's going to be the warmest weekend that we've seen all year.
Nice.
And I know that sounds dramatic all year.
But we had some warm, we've had some warm days this year already, right?
Exactly. And so, you know, and we're into March now, so we've given the year a few months, even though it's felt like the longest year ever.
We have an update tonight on a deadly police shooting we first told you about late Friday night. State investigators are now taking over the case. And KCAL News assignment editor Mike Rogers here at the desk now. Mike, this all started with a traffic stop.
Yeah, you know, Juan, it did. And the LAPD says that the man was uncooperative during that traffic stop and yelling profanities out the window. Now, I listened to this on the radio when it all came out, and they said that the man was armed. We'll show you some video from the scene here that night. SkyCal overhead. We now know that what he had was a cell phone, not a weapon at all, according to the California Department of Justice and the LAPD. The LAPD says during the traffic stop, the man became combative and got out of the car, reached for his waistband, and pulled out a dark object. That is when LAPD officers opened fire, shooting the man. He died at a hospital later on. After they were able to approach him, they learned that the item that he had was actually a cell phone and not a weapon at all. California Department of Justice is taking over this case now because the man was unarmed when he was shot and killed by police. That is a state law here in California. Juan, the LAPD required by their own policies to release body-worn camera and other relevant video within 45 days of a critical incident like this. So we should see what they saw soon.
I know you'll keep this one, Mike. Thank you. Troubling times on the road as auto loan defaults a record high in America. Plus, the small pellets making a big impact for fire victims looking to rebuild.
I'm Desmond Shaw at SkyCal, and tonight we're over an old community building in Tujunga that has led several interesting lives. The story on tonight's Look at This, coming up at 9 o'clock on KCAL News.
This is KCAL News, Los Angeles.
Now at 8, a woman visiting her husband in a California prison is dead tonight. That man convicted of 4 murders in Los Angeles County. KCAL News assignment editor Mike Rogers is at the desk. And Mike, you've been working with our colleagues in Sacramento on this one.
Yeah, you know, Juan, David Brinson was sent to California Department of Corrections after a quadruple murder here in LA. That was back in 1994. And tonight, he's being investigated for his wife's homicide. We'll show you some video here of Brisbane. He was at the California Department of Corrections Mole Creek State Prison. According to prison officials, he and his wife were there. She was having some sort of family visit with him in their family visitation unit. When around 2 in the morning, he picked up the phone and called one of the guards saying that his wife wasn't breathing. The Amador County District Attorney's Office now says they believe her death was a homicide. Now, while nobody has officially listed her husband, as a suspect, according to prison officials, they were the only 2 in the room together. Now, what's interesting here is that he has been moved to a different facility, a healthcare facility in Stockton, since all of this happened. She was pronounced dead at 2:51 a.m. This all happening back in November of 2024. We're learning about it now and asking prison officials because my big question here, Juan, is if the inmate himself called to report it, that means there was likely no guard inside of the room. And the question is anybody monitoring their activities on a security camera or anything else like that? So we're asking prison officials that. We haven't heard back from them yet. The Amador County District Attorney's Office is now investigating.
That case is a head shaker. All right, Mike, thanks. A federal judge ordering the Trump administration to disclose details of a weekend deportation effort by noon tomorrow. As KCAL News reporter Erica Brown shows us, it followed a contentious hearing in Washington, D.C.
Inside this D.C. federal courthouse, the Trump administration faced questions in a tense hearing about the deportation of 261 migrants to a notorious prison in El Salvador over the weekend. Judge James Boasberg ordered the deportations be temporarily blocked, but the Trump administration claimed the flights were already over international waters when the order came down. Monday, a lawyer with the Justice Department refused to answer questions about the deportation, citing national security concerns. Judge Boasberg seemed skeptical of the Justice Department's arguments, ordering the Trump administration provide more detail, including when they invoked the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, a wartime law allowing deportations without due process protections.
They have refused to give individuals the opportunity to show they're not actually part of the gang.
The Trump administration claims some of the migrants deported had alleged gang ties, and the administration paid El Salvador $6 million to imprison them.
We removed terrorists. That should be a celebration. We removed terrorists from this country, and I stand by what the president did.
A federal judge ruled that the Trump administration has until noon Tuesday to provide more details about those deportation flights to El Salvador. Also Tuesday, President Trump says his administration will release 80,000 pages worth of files related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy.
You've got a lot of reading. I don't believe we're going to redact anything.
And Trump is scheduled to have a call with Russian President Vladimir Putin as officials continue their push for a peace deal to end Russia's war with Ukraine. Erica Brown, KCAL News.
We have an update tonight on the timeline of the death of Gene Hackman's wife. Santa Fe County Sheriff investigators now say Betsy Arakawa's cell phone was used on February 12th. They previously said her last known activity was on the 11th. Investigators say records show she used her phone to call a medical center 3 times on the 12th. An autopsy shows she died of hantavirus. Gene Hackman, though, died of natural causes, including advanced Alzheimer's disease, about a week after she did. The couple's bodies were found about a week later. Controversy tonight after the Army removed a section of its website honoring the most highly decorated unit in history. As KCAL News reporter Rina Nakano tells us, it was made up of Japanese Americans who fought in World War II.
They were fighting the Nazis at war overseas, but at home they were battling discrimination. The U.S. Army's 442nd Regimental Combat Team was made up of 14,000 Japanese Americans, many whose families were unjustly imprisoned in internment camps.
They had a lot to prove to their fellow Americans, but in their minds, they knew who they were. They were born and raised here in America.
Their motto, go for broke. Their heroics in the European theater were highly praised, but at a large cost. More than 4,000 Purple Hearts and 21 Medals of Honor.
They became the most highly decorated unit in American military history.
But on Friday, the U.S. Army's website deleted its page on the 442nd Regimental Combat Team.
I believe that this happened because of the current commitment to erasing the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion in telling the story of America. And I think that's such a shame.
Mitch Maki is the president of the Go for Broke National Education Center in Little Tokyo. He says the 442nd wasn't the only one. The Arlington National Cemetery website's notable graves section for the Tuskegee Airmen was also gone as of Monday afternoon.
Our African American, our Latinos, our Native American brothers and sisters who have all served in the military, their stories are being erased.
After public outcry, Maki says the 442nd's webpage was partially restored over the weekend. But they're not letting this controversy erase their history.
First floor will have businesses.
Just steps from the museum, crews are working on the new Go for Broke Plaza. It'll have a monument, restaurants, and 250 low-income housing units, all made possible by the Japanese-American veterans who purchased this land decades ago. Maki says the museum is determined to spread their story and legacy to future generations, with or without the Army's website.
We hope that race prejudice, war hysteria, and a failure of political leadership can be descriptors of the past and not of the present.
In Little Tokyo, I'm Rena Nakano, KCAL News.
Tonight, the Army says in a statement it is tirelessly working through content on that site and articles related to the 442nd Infantry Regiment and Nisei soldiers will be republished to better align with current guidance. A local construction company is helping fire victims rebuild by using 3D technology. They told KCAL News reporter Jasmine Veal it's faster, more affordable, and efficient.
You're looking at the site of my home. That was my garage.
Alex Polovinchik walks up to what remains of his two-story home that he and his wife built 14 years ago in Pacific Palisades.
Fire was still far away, and we didn't take anything with us.
In the weeks that followed the fire, the shock has worn off, but the daunting reality of rebuilding has settled in. Polovinchik says he remembers how long it took to build his house the first time, so he decided to take a new approach and use 3D technology.
So we can actually rebuild the home in much faster than we built the home originally.
When it comes to us in pellet form.
Ross McGuire, the CEO and co-founder of Azure Printed Homes, explains how a robot inside this Gardena factory can print homes like Polovinchik, just hours.
There's around 500 layers that go into each one of these prints and takes around 24 hours to complete.
Small pellets made out of recycled plastic and fiberglass are melted down and poured into hundreds of layers to form the shell. Workers then install the wires, plumbing, and insulation to the walls before they put it together, either here or on site.
So the roof, the floor, and the walls are 3D printed in one go.
Check out this tiny home, 180 square feet. From start to finish, this can be completed in just a couple of weeks.
A way that we could simplify the whole construction process.
And you would put it right here.
Yep, that's what we're thinking of doing.
The base price for one of these smaller modular homes is about $45,000.
It's really amazing how quickly they can be done.
These homes are designed to be fire resistant, as so many homeowners are determined to return here and as quickly as possible. In Pacific Palisades, Jasmine Veal, KCAL News.
In tonight's Health Watch, a pioneering procedure and post-hibernation update on Baki the bear. Plus, it's an Irish tradition where anyone can join in the music.
I'm Bradley Blackburn with the history of the Irish session on St. Patrick's Day and all year round.
Plenty of people marking St. Patrick's Day at LA's oldest Irish pub. Tom Bergin's opened its doors in the Mid-Wilshire district at 6 this morning. And besides serving green beer, Irish coffees, and other Irish staple beverages, the pub also served a traditional Irish breakfast this morning. The celebration continues until late tonight.
Tom Bergin's is a classic, it's like establishment of this part of LA, Mid-Wilshire. I love it. It's great. They got great Irish coffees. They got great green beer.
I know what's in that coffee. Tom Bergin's has been around since 1936. Well, you can't celebrate St. Patrick's Day without Irish music. KCAL News reporter Bradley Blackburn heads inside one of many bars nationwide, hosting traditional folk sounds where anyone can join in.
At Paddy Riley's Music Bar in New York City, the sounds and sights of Irish music boom, not just on St. Patrick's Day, but year-round. And at least once a week at a session, anyone who wants can play or dance.
The idea is that we welcome all musicians to come in. If you're really good, we'll ask you to do a solo. If you're not that good, we'll keep you well away from microphone, but we won't discourage you.
Niall O'Leary performs and helps organize the session.
In Irish, it should be session. It's a very similar word.
One of dozens that happen weekly across New York. He's an architect and dance instructor who was raised in Ireland with music.
You'd increase your repertoire of tunes by just going to sessions and sitting in the back and playing along.
Some say sessions have their roots in Ireland's kitchens, back when neighbors would get together to play folk music. After World War II, the idea caught on in bars and pubs.
It spread through the years and across the globe.
I met with Captain Farrell and...
But Erica Martinez discovered it just around the corner. She lives near this bar, enjoyed the sessions, and was swept up, deciding to learn Irish dancing and join in.
One day I showed up, and I've been coming ever since.
For bar owner Desmond Murray, it's a business boost and a tradition that brings people together.
A lot of regulars, a lot of tourists. It's great to see people coming from all over, because you never know who you could meet.
On St. Patrick's Day, they say everyone's Irish.
We just do it because we love it.
And at a session, everyone is welcome.
Bradley Blackburn, KCAL News.
Thanks for watching KCAL News at 8. KCAL News at 9 starts right now.